Welcome to Lawyer Business Advantage. This podcast is dedicated to helping attorneys earn more money, get better clients, and spend more time with family. I'm your host, Alay and founder of Law Firm Success Group. Smart business guidance for small law firms begins in 3, 2, 1. And it's my pleasure to welcome to Lawyer Business Advantage Rob Levine with Rob Levine Law and Rob Levine Legal Solutions. Rob, welcome to the podcast today.
Alay, thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
I am always excited to get someone on the show who not only owns and has built a successful law firm, but also helps other attorneys do the same. So tell us a little bit about your law firm and the legal solutions you offer.
Absolutely. So I've been a lawyer for 25 years. I think when I first started practicing, we did probably a little bit of everything. I graduated, hung my own shingle. I was actually in-house counsel to a plumbing and heating company. I did their accounts receivable. I did contract law. I was on their executive board. We grew them from 50 people to 300 people, from 5 million a year to 40 million. So that's really where I got my business sense and first wet my feet in business training. And then slowly, as the law firm grew, we niched it down to really, first was personal injury law and title and closing. So we did title and closing business really all over the country. And this was pre-2008. We were doing subprime mortgages. And so then when the mortgage crisis happened in 2008, we added in Social Security disability. So we were growing the personal injury business and Social Security, and then we added in veterans disability. So really the three things we do are personal injury, that's in Rhode Island, Mass, Connecticut, and New Hampshire now. And then we do Social Security disability and veterans disability nationwide.
There's a lot of attorneys that really struggle to grow their law firms, and you've not only developed a strong niche in one practice area, but now you're actually, I think, in 3. So what are some of the things that you think you may have done differently, or maybe had a different mindset than other attorneys that are struggling?
I think the most important thing to remember, and one of the things that we certainly teach in our mastermind group, or if I'm doing consulting, is a law firm is no different than any other business. And right, so you are running a business that happens to be in the practice of law. And what I often see in small law firms, mid-size, and sometimes even in larger law firms, is that the owner, we'll call them CEO, is really engaged in the practice of law every day. And so if you're a small law firm, obviously you have to be practicing law. But there's that sliding scale where you have to put some time into the big picture, the vision, right? So as the CEO, you're the visionary. It's your decision to decide, first of all, what's my goal? Do I want to be a behemoth? Do I want to be a boutique law firm? Where do I want to be in a year from now, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years? And as you're scaling, you start to slide that meter across from maybe it's 1 hour a week to 5 hours a week to 10 hours a week. And you keep spending more time focused on the business, less time on the actual practice of law. It's either that or you have to bring in a CEO and someone who's going to help you scale and grow your business. If you want to practice law full-time all day, your business will never grow unless someone is focused on the bigger picture.
Yeah, it's interesting because when you think about most other businesses, this wouldn't even really be a concern. I mean, you're bringing in, it's a business and you treat it like one and you run it like one. But attorneys aren't trained to run businesses, and they don't necessarily think when they open up a law firm that they are now putting on a CEO hat. They often have this mindset of, look, I'm a practicing lawyer. I'm going to hang out my shingle, do great work for my clients. I'm going to, bill out my time, and I'm going to make money that way. And as long as they think that way, they're always going to be stuck in that rut. And the point you mentioned, I think, is so important because so few attorneys think about doing this, which is being intentional and thinking about the law firm you want to have. What is your vision for the firm? Because once you establish that and you figure out what you really want, then it becomes so much easier to figure out what the roadmap is to get there.
Totally agree. And it's really not just law firms, it's any service business, right? So if you're leveraging your own time in the business, you're going to stunt your growth. So you have to figure out how to leverage other people's times, bring people in who can do the actual operation of the business, whether you're a mechanic, whether you're a hairdresser, whether you're a lawyer, a doctor. If all of your time is spent on the service and not on the business, then you're going to end up being just that service.
Yeah, it's that whole E-Myth concept, or the better book is the E-Myth Revisited, but this idea of as an entrepreneur, you spend all your time in the business, not on the business. And that's now become a very trite kind of saying, but it's incredibly powerful and incredibly true. If you're going to spend all your time, if you're a shoemaker, making shoes, cobbling shoes, and you're not going to be able to really grow your business beyond that. And you're going to be doing a lot of work along the way. So tell us a little bit about this transition to, building a successful law firm and then now offering solutions to attorneys to help them do the same. What drove you to make that change?
I think it was just kind of a natural transition over time because as the law firm grew, and we're now 235 people, we're just about to break 1,000 cases a month. I'd say within the next 3 months, we'll be over 1,000 cases a month. And so as we've grown, so for instance, record retrieval, probably 15 years ago, we decided to build our own record retrieval company to service our law firm. Rather, first of all, we tried an outside record retrieval service. It was a horrible experience. Using your own internal team, your case managers or paralegals to do record retrieval is expensive. They're not focused on the right things. They should be focused on value and growth of the case, not on administrative tasks. So we built one for ourselves. And then as time went on, people asked me, can I help them? Can we do it for them? And I just decided at some point that this just makes sense that we should build the platform not just to service our law firm, but to service other law firms as well.
I love that. So what do you do with that service? I'm not familiar with it.
So if you obviously do either mass tort, personal injury, medical malpractice, anything that requires your clients needing you to collect their medical records and bills for them, that's our job. So law firms across the country hire us to collect their medical records and bills. And so the typical record retrieval service, you have to go into their platform, you have to enter your client's information, you have to go back and pull down records, then you have to download the expenses, put it in your system. We've created a platform that has bilateral communication. So we literally come in to your system every hour and we pull your client's information, we pull the HIPAA form, and we pull the provider information. Then our team goes out, collects the records, brings everything in, ensures it's accurate, gets OCRs it, compresses it, and then we literally push it back into the document storage system of the law firm. We push all of the expenses and costs into the expense tab, and then for seamless communication, all of the conversations and emails are turned into tickets, and then those are pushed into the case management system in the notes tab. So they have a record of everything that we're doing. And the average record retrieval, if you process mapped, it takes 16 steps. If you hire us, you do 3. Talk to your client, enter it into your system, and drop in your HIPAA form. The other 13 steps we do seamlessly for you, and you don't ever have to worry about it.
So better, faster, cheaper. Love it.
Exactly.
Love
And
it.
it's cheaper because it's an outsourced service, so you can pass our fee on to the client. So we're saving you time and money, and it's completely free for the law firm. It's
Love
a
it.
no-brainer.
Great. Great. Well, we're going to talk a little bit more about how people should get in touch with you when the time comes, because I'm sure a lot of our listeners would be interested in that. But you also do legal staffing as well. And there's a lot of, outsourced legal staffing and training companies that are out there. Tell us a little bit about that service.
Sure. So you're correct that there are definitely a tremendous number of companies internationally that you could hire and have them place someone in your office. No one is doing what we do. So we run an academy that actually trains and certifies a case manager to run a personal injury case from start to finish, or what I call cradle to grave. So they go to a 12-week academy full time, 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. We have about a 20% washout rate because we set the standard that you expect when we place someone in your law firm. And if they're not going to meet that standard, we're not going to place them. And so they literally learn how to run cases from start to finish. And you don't start paying as a client until I actually place them in your law firm. So I train them on my dime, and then I place them in your law firm.
Awesome. That's great. May I ask how you got that connection, that international relationship that you've built?
Yeah, so in 2020, when we had COVID, when COVID first hit, we were about a 100-person law firm, and we were concerned because no one knew how long COVID would last. Obviously, you can't have a personal injury case if you're quarantined to your house. So we laid off 25% of our team. So we went from about 100 people to 75 people. And we immediately recognized that we still have thousands of cases that we have to keep running. And so we decided to hire internationally. And so we did a study, figured out where we wanted to be. Colombia and Peru made the most sense for us because it's like a 1 hour time zone change.
Right.
Um, they're
Speak English
bilingual.
very well. Yeah.
Yeah. So they're bilingual. So we have obviously a large Hispanic population. So that worked fantastically for us. And it just has grown from there. And so the law firm now, we were 100, we're now 235 people. And then we've placed hundreds of people around the country. So it's just going phenomenal.
One of the things that I always wonder about with PI firms and all contingency type of firms is cash flow, especially as you're getting started. I mean, you're at the point now where it's probably not as much of an issue, but when you were getting started and driving your growth, how did you manage the lumpiness of the cash that was coming in?
So, I mean, cash flow is always an issue because we're always in growth mode. So, for instance, we just entered the Boston market. So we're number
That's
one in our market in Rhode Island. We've been in Boston now since the beginning of the year, and Boston is probably 5 to 10 times the cost of the market we're in. And so, it takes 12 to 18 months to turn a case from signing someone to receiving fees. So when you're paying for the marketing up front, you're paying for the staffing increasing up front. Totally agree with you. So for us, that's lines of credits at this point. So we use lines of credit for growth. When we were smaller, we had smaller lines of credit. And it's just, internal funding, proper planning. It's just making sure that you plan where you are, where you want to be, create projections, and then track month over month. What did I plan? What did I hit? What went right? What went wrong? And making sure that you're going to be able to deliver. That's where I think we see most law firms who come to us for help struggling. They don't really, first of all, set the goal. They don't create the projections and the plan. And then they haven't come up with the answer to that question because you have to be able to carry it long enough for it to start to pay back. And if you're always scaling, right, and you're always feeding that marketing funnel and trying to keep grow, you chase it forever. So you have to make sure that your growth rate doesn't outpace your revenue and your profit because you have to make money. So it's
right.
finding that fine balance and really knowing your numbers.
Yeah, for sure. And that's not something, going back to our earlier point, that an attorney can do if they're working in the business all day long. Like this is when you think about growth, you've got to be able to take a step back and think about your financial projections and your risk tolerance and how you're going to bring on the debt and all those things. I'm just actually hitting an interesting inflection point in my business. It's probably something you've crossed a long time ago, but it's a mindset shift. I went from thinking about, oh my gosh, how am I going to get the money to fund XYZ growth initiative that I wanted to do? And past, I don't know, 3, 4 months, that shifted. And I now recognize that there is plenty of money out there. Like if you have a decent business, especially a law firm, which is high margins, very profitable, bonus if you own your own building, but you can get money. It's not actually that hard, right?
Mhm. That's true. Especially now. So you have shared services models. For instance, you can have one business in Arizona, your law firm somewhere else, and you can take private money that can loan money into your shared services model. If you run a law firm in Arizona, you can certainly take money from other partners. A law firm in Florida, for instance, or Illinois or any other state can't actually share profits or take money and pay profits out of a law firm. But when you create the shared services model, right, all of the paralegals, the finance, the HR, whatever services that are non-legal, you can certainly borrow money and then pay through the shared services model. There's lots of ways to do it today.
Yeah, lots of ways to do it. And that's where having that time to really think about how do you want to run your business. And then tapping into something like a mastermind group where you're talking to other attorneys who have been dealing with the same problems you have and are trying to figure out solutions together. And so you've been a member of a mastermind for a long time. You're now running your own mastermind groups. Tell us a little bit about how that works.
So yeah, I probably first joined a mastermind group maybe 18 years ago, I'd say, right? I've been a lawyer for 25, and I've been in a lot of different mastermind groups and have met a lot of fantastic people that certainly have contributed to helping me get to where I am, no question. And so part of enjoying having my own mastermind group is being able to give back and help others. And so we've really structured our mastermind group differently than the typical. So a typical mastermind group is you have maybe two in-person meetings a year, maybe three, and that's it. And so it's hard to go to a seminar, conference, summit, and grab that information and then come back to your law firm and be able to implement it. Right? It's easy to learn at the summit, but it's hard to transition, come back to the real world, and then take that and implement it.
Yeah, because the
So
follow through and accountability is missing, right? You get all these great ideas, you come back, and then boom, reality hits like a hammer, and you're buried.
exactly. So we created weekly Zoom meetings. So the first week of the month is goals and accountability. So we have your setting projections, we have what your goals are, and we're holding you accountable towards focusing on that growth and what you're working on. The second and fourth week of the month, we have breakout rooms. So you could be in a room on intake, you could have a subject matter expert every week that's on operations or on marketing. Those are the big three that are consistent all the time. And then we rotate in HR, we rotate in training and onboarding, we rotate in IT. So whatever it is that your firm needs that you want to focus on, we have a subject matter expert who's in the room ready to teach, answer questions. Plus, you have all the lawyers sharing together. It just creates a fantastic group of energy for everybody to be able to learn from.
That
And then the
sounds like a
third
really
week of
cool
the
model.
yeah, thank you. The third week of the month is hot topics. So it varies. This week, we're doing creating a consortium for everybody to share together if they want to invest in mass torts or using the buying power with vendors. So we every month is a different topic that's useful for everyone. And
Love
then
it.
two in-person meetings a year.
And then is it only PI firms or all types of firms?
We have one, it's mainly all PI. I have one lawyer who's really catastrophic property damage. But for the most part, it's all PI.
It's all PI. Yeah, we actually launched our mastermind groups in January, and the one I'm really excited about, a little different from yours. We meet once a month on Zoom, and then that's about an hour and a half, and every agenda is different. The group brings a lot of issues to the table. There's conversations facilitated. There's action items that are taken away. And then they report back on those action items at the next meeting. In between, they have a one-on-one conversation with the facilitator of the group. And the facilitator is not a lawyer, so that drives a lot of interesting engagement, and we've been seeing some really good initial results with it. It's a little I don't know, humbling because I built my practice on one-on-one coaching. So to, do that and have that experience, then to see lawyers really getting a lot of benefit out of talking with each other is like, oh my gosh, where's my value? But it's a lot of fun and they're having really good results. So I love the model you've come up with.
Thanks. Yours sounds great.
Yeah, it's fun, and there's so many mastermind groups out there. It's important to find the right one. And so, who would you think would be, apart from being a PI attorney, are there other things you look for as someone that would be a good candidate for that group?
Really, it's just someone who has a growth mindset, right? So if you're really interested in growing, improving your process, um, changing the way your operation is going, anyone who wants to implement change, growth, scale, I think they're a good fit. We have small law firms in the group and law firms up to 100, 200 team members in their group. So all different sizes, which is nice because everybody brings a different mindset, unique issues, and everybody's able to help each other. So it's kind of cool.
Yeah, it certainly is. And if people are interested in connecting with you, Rob, whether it's for medical record retrieval or legal staffing or the mastermind group or a PI case, what's the best way for them to do that?
My email is simple. It's my name. It's rob@roblevine.com. Levine.
Great. And what are some things that you're excited about, whether it's for your law firm or for the legal solutions company you have over the next year or so?
So the most exciting thing is the what I see as the future of not just law firms, but business in general and where we're going, and that's with the advent of AI. And so I just became a partner in an AI company called Faster Outcomes. And so the the brain power behind that organization, the team members that are there, and the vision of how we create something that we're talking about that's going to be called knowledge, which is going to be able to take all of the information in your law firm and ingest it into the LLM model, right? The large language model, a closed model, and integrate it eventually to your case management system. So it knows everything, the letters that you use, the research, the medical, and use that model to be able to grow the value of your cases, manage your cases, investigate your cases, properly address the issues that come up, and ask your office assistant, hey, I need to do this on this case. Or it's telling you, you dropped in your medical records and it did a chronology and it's telling you, this case has a potential TBI. You should be considering this and this and this. Or this case has a potential herniated disc and the next step should be this. So AI is going to change the way we do everything. It's going to just change how we use our labor team, how we address clients, how we handle cases. That's the most exciting thing I'm looking forward to.
That sounds awesome. Congrats on joining that firm. Congratulations on all your success, Rob, and thank you so much for being on the show today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
And that's a wrap for this episode of the Lawyer Business Advantage podcast. One thing that would really help both us and other new potential listeners is for you to rate this show and leave a comment in iTunes, Stitcher, or wherever you tune in to listen. And I want to hear from you, so connect with me on LinkedIn and let me know what you think of this episode. And if you are a solo or an owner of a small law firm, and you're looking to earn more money, attract better clients, or reduce your stress, we would love to talk with you to see how we can help. Request your free law firm assessment by visiting lawfirmsuccessgroup.com. Again, that URL is lawfirmsuccessgroup.com. We look forward to talking with you soon. Thank you for listening. My name is Alay Yajnik. Until next time, remember, you can seize freedom. You can embrace happiness. You can build your perfect practice.